Look, you already listen every week. You might as well dress like you have great taste too. The Hook and Bridge merch store is officially live. You can find shirts, hoodies, hats, you name it, we've got it over there. It's like wearing your favorite podcast, but socially acceptable. Head on over to our website, check out our merch line, and help support the growth of the show. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Dark Side of Music. Today, we are going to be going over a murder case. We haven't done murder in a little bit.
Yeah.
This one was interesting. I'll say a fan of the band Pantera. Danny, how do you feel about the band Pantera?
Well, so the songs that are listed as their top songs, I know and I like. Like, I wouldn't consider I'm not gonna sit here and go, oh yeah, I'm a fan of Pantera. But those songs that we've listed in the notes as like some of their biggest songs, yeah, I like those. Those are good songs, and I'm sure they have other songs that I just have never heard that I like type of thing. I do have to say, before we really get far into this, you have unlocked a new fear in me as a musician and as one. I've told you kind of the band's new kind of plan is to like start playing more of these weekenders and kind of going on the road. And look,
yeah,
we are in no way in the same ballpark as Pantera or the side project that this particular musician created post Pantera. But still, you've unlocked a new fear in me from this story. And I just had to make sure that I told you that, because as I was reading it, I was like, oh, that could happen. Like, crazier things have happened.
It's a crazy story. It really is a crazy story.
Yeah.
I also would say I think I'm about as much of a fan as you are. Because like I only know like the top songs. Like I don't. But I love those songs.
Right.
Like Cowboys from Hell is one of my favorite songs of all time.
Exactly. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And especially because we're being like transparent about that. Like, look, you can be surface level fans. You're still a fan of the artist's music. Like you're not a mega fan where you have like this grand like appreciation for their songs that aren't like their biggest hits type of thing. So like I wouldn't walk in the room and say, yeah, I'm a fan of Pantera, but like, yeah, if somebody puts it on, obviously I'm going to recognize these songs and enjoy them, and then maybe I'll find another one that I didn't know about.
Right. My introduction to Pantera was from Guitar Hero.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Yeah.
That is where I played Walk and Cowboys from Hell.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
I loved playing those songs. So, that being said, we are going over the tragic murder of Dimebag Darrell, one of the most intense cases in music history, honestly. And you're right; that's a huge realistic fear to open up for any musician, and honestly for anybody that's involved in like public speaking or going out and doing any sort of crowd space. You know that's a real fear, and the person who we'll get into later was a deeply troubled individual with a lot of mental illnesses that weren't addressed, especially in the 90s or early 2000s in this case. So yeah, this one's intense, but we're gonna dive into it. Side note, everyone listening, Danny and I just talked about it, but it is at least 100, if not more, degrees right now. So we're both very hot. And my interface, when I went to just turn up my volume, is like scalding.
Oh no.
I think my entire system is running on pure magic right now.
I have two. This is double insulated, so it's ice cold with ice in it, and then I have this I just pulled out of the freezer. Like I am like stocked up on cold drinks and ready to go. I apologize. Anyone who doesn't want to see people drinking, yeah. You have ice. Is that iced coffee? Yeah,
coffee.
Yeah. But anyway, just so you know, we apologize if you don't like to see hosts drinking. Maybe just listen to this one because we're probably going to be chugging the entire time.
So as I said, we are going to be going over Dimebag Darrell today. On December 8th, 2004, one of heavy metal's most beloved guitarists was murdered while performing on stage in front of hundreds of fans. The victim was Dimebag Darrell. He was born Darrell Abbott, founding member of Pantera and guitarist for the band Damageplan. The attack lasted only seconds, but its impact permanently changed the concert security and left the metal community asking one question: could this tragedy have been prevented? It's an interesting question.
I mean, the problem is like, and I mean, we will definitely going to dive even further into this, but like at my last concert, there's no metal detector, there's no pat,
right?
Like they just check your ID to make sure that you're either under or over 21.
Yep.
So like, I guess maybe if we're talking, ex Pantera member, side project Damageplan, maybe there's bigger security at bigger venues and stuff like that now post this, but like, for anyone smaller, like my band, and even medium tier bands, I don't know if anything has changed. I don't know if like, so that ad, like, that's why I was saying a new fear is completely unlocked with this, because it's like it might have changed things for bigger artists, but
yeah,
I don't know if it's changed anything for smaller.
Well, and I think it also just depends on the type of venue. I think the other thing too is it depends on now we live in a world of digital how do I describe this? Like everyone's connected, digitally. So like chances are if somebody were making threats or anything of the sort, you would know ahead of time, and then I could see them like maybe increasing security if you have those concerns, right? But like usually every show that I've been to, other than larger stadiums or arenas, there's no metal detectors or anything.
Oh yeah. Like I mean, yeah, like I said, giant shows. Taylor Swift's, I'm sure, probably has metal detectors or something on the way in and out, because you're talking those kind of venues, like
right
type of thing. But yeah, definitely not. When you come and see us at the end of this month, there's not going to be a pat down or a metal detector. I'm very excited about that. That's why I mentioned that.
Yes, me too.
But, what's interesting is, do we have record of the individual that did this having threats? Like I get it. It was early 2000s.
I don't think so.
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I get that it was early 2000s, but we're still talking. I mean, that's still age of internet. That's still age. That's MySpace era. Like
yeah, it's also 2004. Like 3 years after the biggest event in American history.
Yeah.
Security was tight in most situations.
So my point is, I get that. Yes. Now everybody puts everything on the internet. You got TikTok, people can open it and record any thoughts they want. So like someone like this may have a history of posting something odd and concerning behavior. Maybe they wouldn't say, go into this show tonight type of thing. Like they wouldn't, maybe they're not going to like confess what they're about to do. But at the same time, you might see somebody with more and more concerning behavior coming up on TikTok and Instagram and stuff like that. But if this person wanted to have put stuff up on the internet, he still could have in that era, is my point. So maybe this still would have went under the radar even today, or even if you want to compare 20 years difference, 2024, which is still age of TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, like, you know what I mean? So like, I don't know if much would have changed between the two, other than the fact that, depending on what the venue was, there may have been a little bit added level of security type of thing.
I also, and I have this conversation with my wife pretty often. I live in the world of, if an individual wants to bring me harm, they're going to find a way to do it. Like I can put in measures of protection, but at the end of the day, like, realistically, if they want to proceed with that action towards me, it's going to happen one way or another. So I truly don't even know if security would have really changed anything. He would have just outsmarted that. He would have found another way, another avenue,
or waited for a different show. Like that's the thing. Like I mean, this was obviously part of more like this side project would have played more shows. This is the
Absolutely.
only reason this was the last show was because of this tragic thing happened from it, like type of thing. So you wait another night, like
exactly. So and there have been so many tragedies like this over the years that I mean, look at the Mandalay Bay incident. You know what I mean? No one could have possibly predicted that was going to happen.
Yep.
You know, no security, and that was recent. No security could have planned for that. So yeah, those who want to commit harm are going to commit harm. It's just we need to make whatever efforts we can. But I do agree, it is kind of crazy. I go to a lot of shows, and the only time I've ever went through, there's more security to get into Busch Gardens than 90% of the venues that I've been to.
Yeah. And as a musician, like until you presented this story, this was not a realistic fear in my head. Now we've started booking all of these faraway shows, and I'm like, okay, got to think about this now from now on.
I will say though, Pantera was how do I say this? Controversial, I think, is the best word to describe it. I think you, sir, are the most charismatic fella I've ever met in my life. I think you're gonna be great.
So all you're saying is I gotta keep up the bouncy, fun pop punk music, and then I'm fine. Okay.
Yeah. I think nothing against the band at all, but like Phil Anselmo is an extremely controversial individual and has been most of his life. But let's dive into who exactly Dimebag Darrell was. We all kind of know him, and if you're new to like the music scene, Dimebag Darrell was born in 1966. He was born in Texas, Enos, Texas, to be exact. He was the lead guitar player for the band Pantera and Damageplan, and he was known as one of the greatest heavy metal guitarists of all time. Definitely not an argument on that. He was an innovative guitar, or he had innovative guitar techniques. That I mean, he did, but like, I don't know. I would argue that one a little bit. He was definitely a friendly guy. He was very charismatic on stage and had very strong connections with his fans. He loved his fans. He loved the fan base. He did a lot of stuff for his fans during his time with Pantera, and made sure to be friendly and greet everybody that he could at shows. And he was influenced by Van Halen, Ace Frehley from Kiss, and Randy Rhoads from, of course, Black Sabbath. And Dimebag was constantly ranked among the greatest guitarists in rock and metal history. So that is kind of his initial background. You have anything on that, Danny? Anything you want to dive into there? Like I said, I think the innovative guitar techniques is a little argumentative.
Yeah, I mean, the problem is I'm a vocalist now. Yes, I did grow up, playing guitar and stuff, but like I feel like the guitarists I have in my band, they're amazing guitar players and will always be, on a different level than I am. That's why I'm never going back to playing guitar. Like live, like I still, I'll still strum around on my guitar, play some stuff here and there. I feel like depending on the genre of music, you have these skills that you have to be able to do just to be on the same level. And I feel like, heavy metal and metal in general and stuff like that are very intricate solos, very intricate leads, stuff like that. So I do put them on a tier above a lot of musicians, and I feel like it's not even a skill level thing. It's just what the median is for that particular, what has to go into those songs. And it's not to say like a normal rock guitarist isn't on the same level as a guitarist for a heavy metal band. I'm just saying what they have to play for a certain song asks for more type of thing. You can get away. A Weezer lead or a Weezer, solo is not going to be the same as a Pantera lead or a Pantera solo. Like, you know what I mean? But it's not to say that like Rivers Cuomo doesn't know how to play that lead or write a lead that's that technical or complex. I'm just saying the median has to be on a higher level. So I think I understand him kind of being, ranked as kind of having, a higher innovative guitar like type of thing. I don't know if I would use that wording, but I would just use the wording of you have to have a more complex baseline for what you're writing that goes into each song in comparison.
Yeah, like a proficiency. He's
right.
Exceptionally proficient guitar player.
Right.
Yeah, the innovative is the wrong wording, I think, is the issue. Because like he was very, very talented and one of the fastest players of all time. But when I think of innovative, I think of like artists like Van Halen and Jimi Hendrix and Eric Clapton, B.B. King.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
The grandfathers of rock and roll music. And
I think what you're more hitting on, and I think it does make more sense. I think innovative needs to go to kind of the trailblazers, the more like Mount Rushmore of guitar players, no matter the genre, because they were kind of the first, versus calling innovative something that's more complex, like because they've built upon what came first and had been influenced by what came first, type of thing. Right. So I think I agree with you. Like I think the wording is the problem with that. Not that he's not an awesome guitar player, not that he doesn't belong in kind of the same conversation as great guitar players in general and stuff like that. But I think I agree that I think innovative guitar techniques need to go with the people that kind of did, set the tone for music in general and rock music in general. And like I think the ones that you listed, like Hendrix and B.B. King and Eric Clapton, like I think they're on a whole different tier of themselves. Type of thing. Like so I definitely agree with that.
One thing I will say about him that I loved that he did was the squealies. He was the king of the squealies. I mean, he could make that guitar squeal like a pig. It was pretty incredible. So anyways, the rise of Pantera. Pantera formed in Texas in 1981. The original members included Dimebag Darrell Abbott, his brother, Vinnie Paul Abbott, who we'll dive into here later, Rex Brown, and Terry Glaze. Phil Anselmo joined in 1986. So 5 years after the band was around, which I actually didn't know until this case. I thought he was always there. I did not know that.
I didn't know much history about Pantera in general. Like I knew these, I knew these 3 songs that we have as the breakthroughs type of thing. But like that is literally all I really knew about Pantera in general.
Right. And honestly, I only know like this story in particular. I knew from like rock magazines growing up, and then I knew these songs, but everything else that I know about the band literally is just based around Phil Anselmo and the things that he has said in his personal life. So anything other than those subjects, I really don't know much about Pantera myself. But Cowboys from Hell is one of the greatest metal songs of all time. Vulgar Display of Power also is up there. Surprisingly, Walk is not on this list, but Walk was another gigantic hit of theirs, and then Far Beyond Driven was fantastic as well. Pantera became one of the biggest heavy metal bands of the 90s, obviously, and that leads us into kind of where all of this begins, right? So after tensions with the band and tensions with Phil, there were a lot of things kind of brewing behind the scenes. And then in the early 2000s, the band actually broke up. The major issues included creative differences, personal conflicts, Phil Anselmo's increasing heroin addiction, and communication breakdowns. By 2003, the band effectively split. Dimebag and his brother Vinnie Paul formed a new band called Damageplan. And this is kind of where Like, we're going to talk about it here in a minute, but this is kind of where all of this begins to form.
Yeah.
The shooter later in the story uses and blames these events on his actions. Now, granted, again, he was a mentally disturbed individual who needed help, but his reasoning was all related to these events in the early 2000s. After they break up, they form Damageplan, featuring Dimebag Darrell, his brother Vinny, Bob Zila, and Pat Lackman. The debut album Newfound Power, although successful, many Pantera fans hoped for a reunion. Some fans blamed Phil. Other fans blamed Dimebag and his brother. Emotions surrounding the breakup were very, very high. And now we dive into the shooter, whose name was Nathan Gale. He was 25. He was a former Marine. He was diagnosed with paranoid schizophrenia after his discharge from the military, increasing isolation, believed people were talking and stealing his thoughts in his head, had become obsessed with the band Pantera. Family members later described his mental health as rapidly deteriorating. So that's kind of what I was getting at, basically. You have a disturbed individual who has an obsession and thinks that he is getting these higher callings, and people are spying on him, and that there are things with the band that get a little political. So he thinks that, there are people that are related to the government and agencies and stuff talking to him and telling him that, Pantera is on this secret mission and there's all these hidden lyrics. And
Yeah.
he was a very disturbed human being. And this in itself is what kind of pushed him over the edge. According to investigators, Nathan Gale believed Pantera had broken up because of Dimebag. Some reports suggested that he believed that Dimebag had stolen his songs. Band members could read his mind, and he was being watched. These beliefs appeared to be symptoms of severe untreated mental illness. Authorities found no evidence supporting any of Gale's claims.
Which is, so this is crazy. So he's diagnosed with paranoid schizophrenia after being discharged from the military.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no, hey, we got to figure out, ways of treating this, ways of helping.
Right.
Like, I don't know, but like at the same time, it's like, why is his family saying afterwards that he was, severely deteriorating mental status, like type of thing? Are they just watching this? Are they, trying, but he's just not letting them help? Like, we don't, obviously we at the end of the day, we don't know. And so like, I can't put blame on the family or anything like that. But like, if somebody is if somebody's diagnosed and then like, you see someone's mental health, going very rapidly downhill, I got to imagine there's something that can be at least done to make sure that this person can't just pop up at a show. Like,
yeah.
And I don't even mean by like the band. I don't even mean by that. I mean, just like, hey man, why don't you come stay with us for, a little while until we get this figured out? And like I said, he is 25. He's his own person. You can't force him to stay somewhere. Like, unless he's under arrest or something like that, you can't really force him to be anywhere. So I get that. But I'm just saying, like, as a nice, like, calm family gesture, why don't you just be like, hey man, why don't you come down to Florida and hang out? Like, or like, you know what I mean? Like, I just feel like, I feel like if I was put in this situation where I had like a family member, and it's horrible to even think of this because I wouldn't wish this on anybody's family or on my own family, but I just feel like the closeness that I have with my extended family, like I have an extended family where we, I'd say 98% of us get together on, the major holidays, Thanksgiving, Christmas,
right?
Like 30 to 40 of us like together. I feel like that level of closeness if someone was really suffering this much and mental health was really going downhill, you could see it. That's how rapid it was actually happening. That the family would come together to really make sure that this individual was not alone with their thoughts. And like I said, I'm not blaming the family because we don't know the full situation. So, and he's a 25-year-old man who was a Marine, who was all this. So like, you can't force him to be anywhere. I get that. Mm-hmm. So like I said, I am in no way like blaming like, oh, you should have taken care. I'm not blaming that. I'm just saying it seems like from the outside that there should have been a little bit more handling of this through family.
Some like intervention. Absolutely.
Yeah. And like I said, I'm not blaming family because you just don't know. You don't know what the situation is, like what's going on. And he is an individual. It's not like he's 17-year-old or an 18-year-old even. Like
well, and honestly, this whole story is such a testament to how far we've come as a society here for mental health. Like because this clearly shows that like if somebody was diagnosed with schizophrenia and paranoia today, there would be multiple people keeping track of them and multiple people checking in and like required, check-ins with doctors and making sure that they're on their medications. Like that in 22 years, right?
Yep.
That's an impressive feat and like truly incredible how far we've come.
I really think one of the biggest things that has kind of brought about that, and there's still plenty, way we like further we can go with helping people out that are suffering, with any kind of mental illness or anything like that. I think the stigma of suffering from sort of like certain mental illnesses, not all of them, but certain mental illnesses, I think that the stigma is started to kind of go away a little bit because we're kind of all, I think post-pandemic, we're kind of all realizing that we're all a little messed up. Like, and so like, I feel like it's not so strange to be like, hey, I'm dealing with this and being able to say it more out loud. Like, like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm sure that like, there's still thousands of people who still feel uncomfortable saying it. And I know I'm a very open and just very like, I'll talk about anything. Like I really don't have too much private stuff that I don't feel comfortable talking about. Like I'll talk about like really not great things that I've had in the past and all this kind of stuff. And I know everybody's not like me, but I do feel like over the last 22 years, the kind of the stigma of mental illness has kind of gone away to a certain degree. I think there will always be a little bit, but I do think, it's at least gone down from where it was. And I do think like, look, pandemic, absolutely horrible, but I do think it was one of the things that kind of came out of the pandemic where people are able to kind of be a little bit more open about what they're dealing with on a personal level. And I think that has been, we're on the other side and now everybody is like, yeah, I'm dealing with this, I'm dealing with that. I have depression. I have, ADHD that I deal with. Like anything under the umbrella of what people are kind of dealing with now, I feel like there's a less of a stigma in general.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. And if you're listening, they are not a sponsor. However, I do highly recommend BetterHelp. I personally use BetterHelp. I use other podcasts promo codes. So if you're listening to other shows, I'm sure they've got some. And like truly, like that stigma is hard to get over, and we are working towards it. But if you're listening to this, just know that like I am taking advantage of that. I'm helping myself. I was stubborn once as well. I've helped a lot of other people who are just as stubborn about getting the help that they need. And if it helps, just don't think of it as help. Think of it as your brain is a biological part of your body, and sometimes you need to take actions for other parts of your body. So why not also take actions for your brain? You know what I mean?
Yeah. The other thing is, everybody needs to talk about things sometimes, and just being able to use a service like like better health. And it's funny because this isn't an ad. We're not sponsored. I mean,
no.
If they hear this and they'd like to sponsor, we could get a promo code. That'd be great. But I don't think there should be a stigma with just needing to talk about everything that is going on in your head, like type of thing. And because I know it's a little awkward, and I know, when you start, it's weird and it feels weird, but like just being able to empty out what's in your brain.
Yeah.
Everybody needs that. It's like, it's like clearing the cache on a computer or something like that. You get it out. And as soon as you start doing that, it kind of, obviously, you got to do it more than one time, but it frees up a little bit, and you kind of like, you feel a little bit looser. And I think that's why it's always good to be able to, be able to talk and just get out that.
Honestly, the convincing factor for me so obviously I do a lot with like the music stuff, and I do a lot here, but the convincing factor for me was utilizing BetterHelp for dealing with business related and like work related things. So like you don't have to think of it as therapy. Think of it as like sometimes you've got shit going on that you need to talk about, but you don't have a person who's a very like outside source. Right. You don't want to talk to somebody like your mom about it. You don't want to talk to somebody like your sister about it or whoever, right? And you have an issue going on at work, and you need somebody to just be an outside source to give you their perspective about that situation. That's what convinced me to do it. Yeah. Utilizing them as a source for me to say, hey, here are the things that are going on at work. Here are the things that I'm witnessing. How do I go about tackling this situation? Because I don't have the tools to do that. Right. So if that helps you kind of get in there and get started, utilize it that way. Because I did that for a very long time.
I mean, in general, just being, like I said, being able to, kind of get out of your own head by bouncing it off a source is absolutely good. And the fact that you can do it virtually and stuff like that kind of takes the other kind of, excuse to not do it out of the equation, because like you can do it from the comfort of your own home. Maybe not in a hot podcast studio, but like you can do it on your couch in front of the air conditioner. Like
exactly.
Yeah.
And if you don't like physically talking to somebody, you're a texter, you can just do text sessions, which is crazy.
Yeah.
So anyways, let's dive back into this case here. So we're going over Nathan Gale and his backstory. Now we get to the day of the incident. December 8th, 2004, in Alrosa Villa, Columbus, Ohio. Shout out Columbus, Ohio. Approximately 600 people. Damageplan was performing the opening song of the night. Only seconds into the performance, Nathan Gale rushed the stage carrying a Beretta 9mm handgun. That happened incredibly fast. Gale immediately shot Dimebag multiple times at close range. He then turned his weapon on others, attempting to stop him. Victims included Dimebag Darrell, Jeff Mayhem Thompson, head of security for Damageplan, Nathan Bray, fan attempting to help, Aaron Hulk, Alrosa Villa employee. Several others were wounded. Witnesses described complete panic as fans scrambled for safety. Many initially believed the shooting was part of the show because of the loud music. Several individuals attempted to stop Gale despite being unarmed. Jeff Thompson confronted the shooter and lost his life protecting others. Nathan Bray rushed the stage in an effort to disarm Gale. Police officer James Nagmeyer arrived within minutes, finding Gale holding another hostage. Nagmeyer made the decision to fire one shotgun blast. The shot instantly stopped the attack. Many investigators believe his actions prevented a significantly larger massacre. So yeah, this was a guy super disturbed. At the end of his rope, he went in with a mission and was not going to stop until that mission was complete.
But I feel like he pretty much did his mission. Like if he really just went in for one person, like Dimebag, he did that in the first 2 shots. Like,
yeah.
I
I
don't
think
know if he had an exit plan or like a,
I think he genuinely thought he was going to escape. I really do. I think that he went in, he did it, and then he was like, "Well, I'm getting out of here." Um, and yeah, that is exceptionally scary. It's scary as a musician. It's scary as a concert goer. You know what I mean? Like, that's a very scary situation. And like I said earlier, that this is not the first time that something like this has happened
right,
in a concert venue.
right,
Yeah, I mean, it is crazy. Thankfully, people were able to stop what happened, and unfortunately, people lost their lives protecting others, and it is a complete tragedy. And unfortunately, there are just disturbed individuals who need help out there. This one's extremely cut and dry. There's not really any mystery to it, other than just like we said at the beginning, how could it have been prevented? But I just truly believe you can't prevent something like this from happening. He was set in his ways. I take that back. The only way that you can prevent this from happening is, like you said, Danny, people around him becoming a support network and doing what they can to see the signs of him deteriorating and doing whatever they can to put some sort of intervention in place before it gets to this point. The investigation part of the story, police immediately began examining Gale's motives. Questions included: what was his target? Who was it random? Did he know Dimebag personally? The evidence showed that Gale had no relationship with the band. He had become fixated on Pantera. He legally purchased the handgun, and there was no broader conspiracy. Investigators concluded the attack was driven by untreated paranoid schizophrenia and his delusional beliefs. It sucks, man. Like, I've seen several videos since looking into this case about like the deeper like thought processes that he was having, and people around him said things like, he believed that he was being contacted by the police and investigators and stuff, and that the band was involved in other secret missions, and that he had to do his part, and like it said in there, he also believed that he was part of the band, that he had written songs for the band, and that Dimebag stole his songs. So it sucks. It just sucks.
yeah.
The tragedy did expose a lot of major weaknesses in security. At the time, there were few bag checks, minimal metal detectors, limited police presence, easy stage access. Following the shooting, many venues introduced increased security and staffing, better stage barriers, more thorough searches, improved emergency planning. The attack permanently changed how smaller concert venues approach safety. Again, let's bounce back to like our conversation though, because like, prime example, and this is no dig at the venue. I love this venue and I will continue to go to this venue, but the Canal Club in Richmond. It's a fantastic venue, but there's just a guy. You just walk in, you hand him $10, he gives you a wristband, and like it's just a bar with a stage. I mean, I guess there's technically a barrier, like there's like a little metal pole in front of the stage, but like there's access points on both sides. It's just a pair of stairs. They're not like setting somebody up to stand in front of it and be like, whoa, you can't go up there.
Right.
So I don't know, man. But again, that's technically a concert venue, but the acts that go there are significantly smaller than Pantera. So
yeah. And that's why it goes back to like what's crazy is they're talking about more security for small. When you're talking about at least 600, that means the room cap was probably what, 800? Like, you know what I mean?
Right.
That is not
about
small
that part.
venue. Like a small venue room cap is like 300, 350, 250 to 350. Like those are the rooms that I'm playing. Maybe we're playing a 400 cap room.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like those are the smaller ones. But the stage that I just played on, like around here, like there wasn't even stairs. You just pop on the side on either side. You just roll on the stage. You're there, type of thing. There's no border at the front either. There's just a couple of monitors on either side, type of thing. So
no, I agree with you. I forgot it said 600 people, so that's more like the Norva, in Norfolk, and that, I guess, now that I'm thinking about it, I've been to a handful of shows there. There is more security there. They have the metal detectors out front. You go through two, actually. You go through the first set and then set your stuff in the little container and go through a second set. So I guess, that's pretty secure. And I think that one seats like 2,000 or something.
So I mean, it's good, but it doesn't, like they're acting like this is small. And I get it in the grand scheme of things. Like, but like we said, the stadium and amphitheater. I don't know why I couldn't figure out the rest of that word. It's the heat. It's the heat, I swear. But those were probably already, had security and metal detectors and stuff like that. So then it just kind of trickled down to the next tier. But we've still got 2 tiers down from the places that, like, from the Norva. We got, the giant stadiums and amphitheaters. Then we've got like the Norva tier of venues. Then we've got the Canal Club, tier. Then we've got the small the
venues, actual small venues that are like where you host open mics and whatnot.
Exactly. So like, I mean, it's only trickled down 1 tier. I feel like we need, and I get it. Like the smaller clubs, there's less of a chance because there aren't like crazy bands playing at those or anything like that. But if someone just wants to do whatever they want, they can, and that's scary. That's why I said it's not a likely thing that can happen. But of course, now I have a new fear unlocked. Just kind of thinking about this is because you never know. You never know.
Well, Danny, I'm just gonna offer it up front. I will be security and travel with the band if I have to.
Look, I've already said you are more than welcome to come to both shows and just hang out with us the whole time.
I know we haven't met in person yet, but like I look a lot bigger on the screen than I actually am. I'm only like 5'7".
Well, I know we haven't hung out in person. I might look a lot bigger on screen, but I am 5'4" to 5'5", so you're still bigger and taller than me.
No, it is crazy though. But also like the stadiums and stuff, like I just realized like they're used for other things. Like you have sporting events that those are typically used for. So I just would assume there's an added level of security for a venue that's being used multiple ways.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like even already, like, mid 90s, early 2000s, like amphitheaters, stadiums, and like giant venues, like the indoor, like Madison Square Garden, like, obviously those kind of venues that these like Metallica and Taylor Swift, like those artists are playing, they already had metal detectors and that level of security and everything like that. So what happened from this is the next tier down. They kind of implemented this level of security too. I don't know. I mean, you did say, there's at least one guy at the Canal Club. I don't know if there'll be anybody at the 2 stops that we're going to be at.
Well, and not to make everything connect to 9/11, never forget. It was 3 years after 9/11. Like, I feel like if we were ever at a point in American history where security was an exceptionally big thing being talked about, it's the 3 years following 9/11.
Yeah.
Like, that was top priority. So I don't know, man. It seems a little suspicious the more that I think about it. But I don't think there's any sort of like mystery to it. I really don't.
Oh yeah, no. I think it's pretty cut and dry on what happened, and it's just the the tragic result of, a untreated mental illness, and it, really affecting someone. And, and like you said, it was a very crazy series of events. The band broke up, and then within a year, this other project had started and was already, 600 people is nothing to laugh at. Like, I understand compared to Pantera, I'm sure it's way lower of a crowd, but 600 people,
yeah,
600 people, like, that's a lot of people at a show to see your band, type of thing, in general. And so, like, to have that amount within a year of Pantera actually officially breaking up is, a feat of itself. Like, but it's just like this series of events was kind of very, crazy in general, and was very accelerated because of all of this and everything that kind of, had happened in general, type of thing.
I also think that it's a big testament to how incredible Dimebag was as a guitar player. Like, clearly he was such a vital piece to Pantera that he was able to leave and immediately start right back up and develop a relatively successful side project.
Yeah.
Like, that's pretty damn impressive in itself. So obviously it was a major impact on everything. The murder shocked musicians around the world. Tributes came in from Metallica, Ozzy Osbourne, Black Label Society, Slipknot, Avenged Sevenfold, and countless others. Many artists cited Dimebag as one of the most influential guitarists of his generation. This is where it gets a little more interesting. Vinnie Paul, the tragedy deeply affected Dimebag's brother Vinnie. He rarely discussed the shooting publicly. He refused multiple Pantera reunions over the years. Many close friends said he never fully recovered emotionally from witnessing his brother's murder. And Vinnie Paul tragically died in 2018 from heart disease. I also know from several stories that Vinnie, after that incident, had a heavy drinking problem, which sucks and could have led to some of his heart disease.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that truly just really impacted him. He never fully recovered. Now we dive into Phil Anselmo. One of the topics that continued to generate a lot of debate is whether comments made by former Pantera vocalist Phil contributed to growing tensions. Prior to the shooting, Anselmo had given interviews criticizing Dimebag. In one interview, he included a statement that Dimebag deserved to be beaten severely. After his murder, those comments were received with renewed scrutiny. However, investigators found no evidence that Nathan Gale acted because of Phil's statements. Authorities concluded that Gale's actions were driven by his mental illness rather than any outside influence. It's crazy.
How can you say that if he feels like he's getting messages from the band and all that stuff?
Yeah,
he's gonna latch on to any comment that is made, and not trying to put blame on any individual other than the person that actually shot the gun in the first place. But at the same time, how can you say that didn't at least in some way pile on, like,
absolutely. I do think the police were just protecting him. I think that they had a cut and dry case, and it was like one of those, like, hey, like, let's just, he's already kind of destroying his life as it is, and it would just open up a bigger can of worms. We have everything that we need to say this is what happened. Let's just move on. Everybody needs to move on, type of thing. It is crazy though that a little more on Phil is that he is back with Pantera. Like, they came back a few years ago, and like, he's constantly talking about his brother Dimebag and that death, and he's had several interviews about how it impacted him and how he loved Dimebag. So, like, I don't know, man. He's a strange individual. This story also always makes me think of, I don't know if you remember this, Danny. Do you remember when Scott Stapp tried to assassinate the president?
No.
Yeah, that's another one where I'm like, Creed is bigger than ever before right now. And it's like everyone just kind of moved past Scott Stapp trying to literally storm the White House and assassinate the president.
Should we save this for another case file? I don't want to throw it out at the end of this one.
Well, it disappeared. Like they just it happened, and then it was just like he was arrested, and they let him go, and it was a mental breakdown fueled by drugs and alcohol, and then we just moved on. And I want to find out. Let me check the year because that is important to me saying this.
To be fair, I have not listened to Creed.
Okay, 2014. It was 2014.
I can't imagine that I've listened to Creed since 2014, like in general, and not because I heard about this, but just in general.
Yes, Creed's frontman and his estranged wife and sister-in-law called 911. They reported that Scott Stapp believed he was a CIA agent tasked with killing the president, Barack Obama, in 2014. So, and then we just never talked about it. And then out of nowhere, he comes out and plays a show at the football game, the Cowboys game, and suddenly it's like, oh, hey, remember Creed? They're awesome. Let's give them a cruise and a tour. And then that tour sold out, and now they're just back and they're putting out new music. And it's like, are we just not talking about that? We're just moving on? Like, and that reminds me of this. Anyways.
I look, we should talk about that more. But also, I think this is just and I feel horrible saying this. I think now that both Dimebag Darrell and his brother have passed away, this is just a way of, Phil to be able to kind of still, talk about it and kind of talk about it as if, he does actually care and miss this person. Like, there is a level of, they were bandmates together, like, and there is that background at the end of the day. But like to go from, and look, it's not the craziest thing in the world. I've been in multiple bands, and I know, ending one, there are, tensions and feelings of anger, from people that didn't choose to end it or didn't choose to leave or didn't. And then time does, kind of change that. They look back on the fond memories of the band, and then, you can still kind of chat with them when they've moved on to another band and you've moved on to another band and stuff like that. It does take some time. So
absolutely.
Like, part of me thinks he's just kind of taking advantage of a situation. The other part of me, is thinking from personal experience where, like, I have had some, not so great interactions with people that have left the band, or if the band had to end for a certain reason or something like that. And then years later we've reconciled and, been able to at least chat about, hey, remember that time? That was awesome. That was fun. But they've moved on and are playing with another group, and I've moved on and played with another, like, you know what I mean? So it's like time does heal those kind of things.
Yeah.
But like, we'll never know, which one, I guess. Or maybe it's a little of both. We don't really
I think
know.
it is. I think it's a little bit of both. I think that he is at a place where he may have like reconciled it with himself. He was also, like it said, addicted to heroin at the time. He had a lot of demons that he was battling. Like Dimebag had his own stuff going on too. He wasn't a saint by any means. So like, I think that maybe Phil reconciled it in his mind. It just looks bad on paper. You know what I mean?
And you want to hope for the best. Yeah, you want to hope that, maybe he has, come to terms with it. He's does really like he goes, well, that was really my friend, like my bandmate, my friend. He's gone. His brother's got, like, these are two members of a band that he was in that got really big. So no matter what, they do have history and stuff like that. So you want to hope that it's from that side of things. So
now everything else about Phil, if you're listening and you feel like researching him, definitely contradicts everything that I just said. I'm trying so hard to give him the benefit of the doubt. He is a interesting individual himself. But I think that I think he does truly believe. I think that he is narcissistic enough to believe he reconciled it in his mind. Is the best way to put it. But regardless of all of that, Dimebag's influence still continues to shape heavy metal music. He remains known not only for his guitar playing, but also for his generosity, his humor, and his connection with his fans. Each year, musicians continue to honor his legacy through tribute concerts, signature guitars, and charitable events. His murder remains one of the darkest moments in music history and serves as a reminder of the importance of mental health awareness, venue security, and protecting performers and audiences alike. I forgot the Dimebag Darrell guitar series, the BC Rich guitars.
Yes, yeah.
Who was an aspiring guitar player that didn't want the awesome like Dimebag Dean guitars and the BC Rich guitars? Like, they were so cool.
Yeah.
I definitely had one. They played like absolute shit. I did have one.
I didn't have one. I definitely had a couple of friends in like my first two bands that definitely had at least one of them. I was always, there were like three guitars that I always wanted, and I had a time with all of them. My first one was a Fender Strat. I was like,
obviously,
I want a Fender Strat, and that was my very first guitar. The second one was, I saw an electric blue SG.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
And it was a special edition. I don't want to get too far into the weeds on this. There was a special edition where there was a Bigsby bar on it, like built into the thing. And I had that. Like, it was used at Guitar Center. I found it one year, and I looked it up. They only manufactured that for a few years tops, like, type of thing. And so I had an electric blue one of those with a Bigsby bar built on. I could throw that guitar around. I put strap locks on it immediately. Like, that was such a fun guitar to perform in.
Yeah.
With, not in, but wearing.
Yeah.
Because I still jumped up and down when I could.
Right.
Just not as much as now. But my dream guitar, the one I still have right now, and the one that I actually sold both of those guitars for, is my white Les Paul Studio with gold hardware.
Ooh.
That is, will forever be my dream guitar. I eventually want to get a hook that I can mount it on the wall and just have it hanging behind me. That will always be my guitar. And before the whole reason why I stopped playing live was I actually collided headstocks on stage while I was performing with it.
Oh no!
So I was out of commission for like 6 months while it was getting fixed. But it's fixed. It looks just as beautiful as it did the day I got it. I got it used. It was a studio used guitar. So like, it wasn't on the road. It didn't have any like wear to it. It was only used in studio for a couple of years before I got it. I used to have I think it was DR strings. They did the powder coated colored strings.
Yep.
I put hot pink strings on that thing. It popped. It was, I'm telling you, by far still is my dream guitar. I don't have the powder coated strings on it anymore because like the powder comes off. I liked it because it popped on stage.
Right.
Will always be my dream guitar. But yeah, everybody has their own dream guitars. I know plenty of people that like the BC Rich and stuff like that. I've played them just like you said. Like, I didn't love them, but I knew people that was their dream guitar to have.
They looked incredible. The Warlock design was so cool. It was really the hardware that was the issue. And I understood because, so full story on it, Dimebag had a lot to do with like the production of that guitar line, and he wanted an affordable guitar for new players. And in order to get affordability, you have to cheap out on some stuff. They cheaped out on the pickups, and that definitely impacted the way that it sounded.
Which, look, at the end of the day, I do appreciate that decision versus, any other elements that can go into a guitar, because you can always exchange pickups and stuff like that, and make like use whatever pickups you want and stuff like that to make it sound the way you want it to. But if they cheap out on other elements of it, and it's just really not a good body, or like the fretboard is weird and chipping and stuff like that, then that's a way bigger problem and a way bigger issue. Like, so I think that was a real smart musician place to save money, basically, because I think that is a decision that another musician understands. They understand that pickups are something that can be changed aftermarket.
And especially for new like learner guitars, you know what I mean? Like, that's a great guitar to learn on and customizable down the line.
Yeah, absolutely.
My dream guitar is, I have a blue PRS. I'm a giant PRS guy. But honestly, that black guitar right there,
see it.
That was a anniversary present from my wife. Our first anniversary. That guitar cost her, I think, $125. It is a LTD like ESP brand. It's the brand that James Hetfield plays.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it was very, very close to what I wanted at that time, but I wanted obviously the more expensive version, but she found that and got it for me. Hands down, best guitar I've ever played. Like, it's fantastic. I love that guitar. But my PRS, I love my PRS. It only comes out of the case every once in a while, though. Yeah, man. So, anywho, that's the Dimebag Darrell case. We made it through.
We did. I'm already sweating. Not because of the story, but just in general. Like,
I agree.
I mean, I feel like we've already kind of talked about another case that we need to talk
about. We might have to mix that one in with like 2 or 3 cases. There is not much to go on. It's a mystery though. Like, they clamped down on it like so fast.
A rapid fire, mysteries that were partially scrubbed episode. Ooh, yeah, so there is no answer, and there might not be a lot of backstory or real, but we could just do, like, if we can find like 3 or 4 of them, maybe we just, we throw them out there and be like, hey, this is kind of weird.
I love that idea.
Something like that might be kind of cool to do. The other thing is, I know something because you've texted it to me and you've shown it to me, and it's already public, so it's not a surprise. But I think it's really cool, and I'm already going to start buying them for family members and stuff. That we have merch, like,
we do
for this podcast. You have really awesome merch in general for Hook and Bridge, like anything. I looked at the entire store. You have very cool merch. I am super jealous because I want to get merch for the band and get an online storefront in general, but I love the merch that you made. Not only you made it just happy to be here shirt that I love, that I want to wear.
It's awesome. 100%. Shout out to Chris. That was Chris's baby.
Yeah.
He took that idea and ran with it.
I love it. I 100% want to wear it. I kind of want to get 2 because I want to wear one as is, and then I want to cut the sleeves off of one of them.
Yeah.
Because I just feel like it would fit that shirt, but I want to have one that's normal too. And then I have to get one for my dad because I know my dad will wear it 100%.
Right.
But the Dark Side of Music ones too are awesome. And I'm 100% getting one of those for my dad too. And at least a couple other family members. And
there's going to be a lot more. I'm putting a lot more on. We started slow. I just wanted a slow rollout. But we've got, I think 2 different cups over there. We've got like a tumbler and then a coffee cup. There's a t-shirt. The t-shirt's great. It's very funny. There are stickers, and honestly, my pride and joy on there is the playing cards. I wanted to make merch that I thought of like represented true crime, and for some reason I saw the playing card option and I was like, that screams mafia. So
that's cool.
That's what we made.
Yeah.
But it looks awesome.
I have an idea that I think we have to do eventually. is I think we both needed to get coffee mugs that say Dark Side, and that's what we used to drink. Whether it's a cold beverage or a hot beverage.
Yeah.
From now on,
so
every
smart.
show. Yeah.
You're so
every
smart.
show has to have us drinking from those, like, moving forward. I think
That's great. No, dude, the merch line's up and I love it. I think it looks fantastic. The quality is great. I have several pieces from this company that I've ordered for myself. Their hats are awesome. Their shirts are awesome. They represent like the largest clothing brands. So like all of our shirts are your classic, like Gildan or Bella Free, you know, the classic materials you'd find at your stores.
Yeah.
But the thing that I love is when they put the logos on there, they use a special DTG flex. So when you wash it and wear it, the vinyl flexes with the wear and tear, so it doesn't like crack and crease. So yeah, it's a very nice material, very breathable. So yeah, check out the merch line. It's over on our website, hookandbridgepodcast.com. Go to the storefront, and there will be plenty more to come out on there.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm excited.
Side note, I'd be happy to have an entire Just Happy to Be Here line of merch on there for you.
I would love it. Like, I haven't even told the rest of the guys, because I kind of want to just like show up one day wearing it and just be like, and just have them like see it, not recognize it, and go, do we have new merch? Like, that's kind of, I think that's going to be how I spring it on them. Like, is I just kind of want to come in to like a practice wearing it one day.
I love it.
Or how fast is the ordering process? Because what if you just showed up to our show wearing it?
Oh, I'll have it by then. Yeah.
That would be.
I'm actually placing my order today for everyone that listens to all of our live stuff. All of the free merch that I said that you would all get.
Oh, very cool.
I'm ordering it all today and sending it out to everybody. So nice. Yeah, expect some free stuff coming your way.
Very cool.
But no, Chris really loved the idea. It was his brainchild. He was like, what if we made a line of artists that you have interviewed, but we make them all into parodies? And I was like, show me some ideas. And he showed me yours, and he showed me Ryan Capybara and David Grilled Cheese, and we have a handful of other ones, Forrest Day and some others, and they're all going to be up there. It's our artist line. They're very, very funny, very clever t-shirts. The Just Happy to Be Here shirt is, of course, our golden retriever Danny. So
with a blue mohawk. I love it. Yeah. I absolutely love it.
So anyways, yes, our merch is up. Please go enjoy that. And yeah, thank you guys for listening. It's very, very warm. So
we need to get those mugs, and we'll just have like ice in them from now on. Like I'll just have ice chips in mine.
I always drink coffee on the show, so I'm gonna get that and my coaster. I'm gonna put it right here on the desk. Perfect storm.
Awesome.
All right, guys, it's been incredible, and we'll see you next time.
Bye, everybody.
Hey, everybody. The Hook and Bridge podcast isn't just a show. We're a community, and our Patreon is where the real fans hang out and build that community. Over there, you can become part of the chat, hang out and talk to amazing musicians and other people involved in the industry. On top of that, we also have exclusive content, a lot of video game stuff over there, and some stuff that maybe we didn't want to say on the actual show. There's additional bonus episodes, extended interviews, and a chance to support what we're building here. So head on over, become a member, and join us and help us build this music community.